I'm here today to tell my cancer story, along with many others who already have their cancer stories on the internet. Hopefully it's going to help people with mouth cancer through their journey and where I am today to help them feel a lot better about themselves. Thank you. Right, my name is Claire. I'm nearly 54 years old. I'll be 54 on the 1st of August. I live in Leicester, but I was born in London. I was actually brought up in Purley, in Northamptonshire, which is known as Little Scotland, because my mum is Scottish, my dad was Irish. I had 2 sisters and a brother, and the baby of the family, which isn't always a good thing, but I do get spoiled. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with cancer in May of 2012, so I'm 2 years on and I'm doing okay. My name's Claire. I'm nearly 54 years old, that'll be on the 1st of August. I was born in London, many moons ago, but I was brought up in Purley, in Northamptonshire, which is known as Little Scotland. I don't know if you're aware of that. My mother's Scottish, she's still alive. I've got 2 older sisters and an older brother. I'm the baby of the family, so I'm spoiled rotten. Even though I don't see them very often, they're very protective, very supportive of what I'm going through. And without them, I couldn't have got where I am now, and with the help of my husband also. Going back to 2012, I was made redundant in January, which was very upsetting for me because I've never been made redundant. I've worked full time all my life from when I was 16, so it was a big shock for me. But I thought in my mind that getting a job wouldn't be a problem because I've got buckets of experience, but people kept telling me it's going to be very hard for you. Right, whatever. And as soon as I started looking for another job, which I found extremely difficult, I became very, very stressed. I put a lot of pressure on myself because I couldn't deal with it any other way. And I knew inside my mouth something was happening, but I didn't take it serious because all I could think of was getting another job. I didn't know any different. I couldn't do anything else. That was my life, and that's what I did. But I found it harder and harder and put a lot more pressure on myself. Started to lose weight. I couldn't eat what I could normally eat, but I still wasn't taking it seriously what was happening to me. I'd been to the dentist and referred to the hospital. They gave me painkillers, and I thought, okay, that'll get rid of it. But I ended up having a biopsy on my thumb, which, to be honest, I cancelled it because that was just getting in the way of me finding a job. But I was told I must have it and have an MRI scan, which I thought, why are they doing this to me? I did it all. The biopsy was absolutely horrendous. I was in so much pain that even then I thought, but it can't be anything serious because I'm all right. Cancer didn't even enter my head, and my husband never said anything. He just let me carry on still trying to get a job. But eventually I was diagnosed in May 2012, and I was shocked, which I shouldn't have been. because everything leading up to it, my husband wasn't shocked, but I was. And life, as I knew it, as we knew it, that the phone alarm just went bleh. And even worse, was telling family and friends, and that was horrendous. They told my husband I was the first, and I thought it was in the nature, bad, nature ill, but she was all right. But then I had to go to court to tell my family, and it was horrendous. But I have to say the surgeons and the consultant at Natural Face were absolutely brilliant. The nurses so sympathetic. I wasn't scared about going into hospital because at that time it was a tumour under my thumb, 12 months recovery, and that was it. That was it. Let's get on with it. I wasn't scared, I wasn't nervous. It was going to take a bit off here, to put in my mouth, no problem. Unfortunately, it wasn't as straightforward as that, which was very unfortunate. I did end up in intensive care because that didn't work, a hemorrhage. And instead of one big operation, I had to have two. And they found a lot of tumours in the neck, didn't show up on the MRI scan. Now when I eventually came round in the ward and my husband trying to tell me bit by bit by bit what was done to me, it was like it was happening to someone else. I still didn't think I was that bad, thought it can't be. Had to write everything down, I couldn't sleep. But when I went to the toilet for the first time and looked in the mirror, I didn't know who that was. That was Frankenstein in my mind. I didn't know who it was. I'd had a lot of anaesthetic, obviously, and a lot of morphine, and it did send me a bit, without sounding dramatic, a bit round the bend, quite a lot, unfortunately, in hospital. But the staff were absolutely amazing. I kept writing it down, kept apologising how I felt and what I was doing to them. But they said, Claire, you've been through such a lot. But even then when they said, you've been through such a lot, I thought, have I? I couldn't fathom it out, I couldn't work out in my head how much I'd been through and what it was going to do to me, because you don't know. You don't know how they're going to feel, how they're going to react. But everyone, family and friends, were absolutely amazing, but I found it too overwhelming. There had been in cards in for me, which I put on the wall, because you've got your own room, and presents, but I couldn't handle it. I was phoning back at my husband, don't want them. It was too much, too overwhelming. I thought, they made me out I'm a special person, but I'm not. How am I? I'm Frankenstein now. This is all going through my mind. But getting all these cards with all these words in them, and I couldn't handle it. I was in hospital for 3 weeks, it should have been 2. But because I'd been through, as I kept saying, I'd been through a lot, I'd been through so much. I wanted to go home, but then again I didn't, because I didn't know what was going to happen. My husband had been on his own all that time, and by then I couldn't eat, which I can't now. And I didn't know how we were going to react to each other. Like, sent us in hospital, but I was going home. They gave me all my food to go through my ped tubes, but apart from that, I just went home and that was it. My husband was fighting shit in front of me, who was very upset about it, and I still felt, where have I gone? I've gone, my personality's gone. But in my mind, oh, I get it back soon. Because I was originally told a 12-month recovery, I thought, oh, perhaps by Christmas, I'll be all right. But they had to build me up again to have the treatment, and I've lost a lot of weight. And when I saw myself in a full length mirror. That was so upsetting. Got the wire hanging out my head tube, and I could see my ribs. Because the food that was going in there, it just didn't agree with me. But the fantastic dietitian got me sorted. Didn't think she would, but how is it possible that she built me up to have the treatment 6 weeks later? Again, I was very positive, I wasn't frightened, I wasn't scared. Get it done, get it over with, get into recovery. I had absolutely no idea how it was going to affect me physically and emotionally. I had a little bit of chemotherapy, but I had a lot of radiotherapy. And to be honest, having the mold for the mask was terrifying. But, and I emphasise this, people are there to help. Because I said, I'm terrified. It's going to be claustrophobic, but they were absolutely brilliant in radiotherapy. They're there for you, have a little tablet, calm you down. The nurses were fantastic. When I went in there to have the mold, there's a bit of anaesthetist around it. The nurse would hold my hand, because it was absolutely terrifying. But it's easy to say now, nothing's as bad as I think, but at the time, very frightening. But I got through it, I got through my treatment. But what was also a big shock, how it affects you emotionally. It's like you hit a brick wall. It's an emotional roller coaster. And because I'm going through all that, again I'm thinking, where's the bomb? Because I'm quite a bubbly person, and now I'm like, crying, I'm depressed. I'm depressed. I've never been depressed. It runs in my family, depression, but not me. Oh no, I've never been depressed. But I can quite honestly say I was. And it's a horrible, horrible time. But I thought by this Christmas, I'll be alright. I don't know now, I didn't. My friend said, you know, we've gone out for a meal. No, Christmas came and went. I had an infection, I was on antibiotics, I could hardly drink. Maybe by the next Christmas, I'll be alright. So we got into last year, and the speech therapist, again fantastic, she said, why don't I have a bit of neck massage? That might help, because I get very uncomfortable. I've had all the tumours and I have a scar here, very uncomfortable. I said, yeah, okay. This is not at the law, that's done at law loss. I had my neck massage. Again, the nurse was fantastic. I went through all of that. But I'm still getting very emotional and very tired. The tiredness is very frustrating. Yeah, I used to like to have a snooze now and again, but it just takes you over. And that's when you start to feel a bit low because you're so tired. Unfortunately, I developed an underactive thyroid through the radiotherapy, which my older sister had had for a long time, so I can understand it a bit more what she's going through, which is quite odd, because of what I'm going through. But I said, I know how to feel now with the tiredness. Yeah, the doctors have said, because of everything you've been through and the thyroid, you're going to be tired. But I suppose in a way it didn't matter then, because I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't go anywhere, I wouldn't do anything, because I'm different now. But I wanted to get my personality back, but I couldn't do it. Because I've got a very wet mouth, I've got all this discontentment, I've got no stamina, and I can't go out to a restaurant with my husband. What's the point? What's the point of going anywhere? Might as well just stay in. get depressed and cry. So they did. And then my best friend would come to see me. Come on, that's all right to do. Come on, stop crying, and that's all right to do. And I found that really hard. And my husband was trying hard, being supportive. And I looked at and they said, I know it's all right for me, I don't understand what they're going through. They can't even go out for a meal, they can't go abroad. What are they doing with me? I started getting paranoid. Like, if I lose me, what's the point of being here with me? He said, I'm here because I love you. I want to be with you. And I was like, but you've got no life. He said, we will have a life. We won't always feel like that. Like, how do you know? But I was always told, and I didn't believe it, it takes time. And every time I heard that, I thought, I can't believe that. Everything I was going through, I thought, I can't believe I'm going to feel any different. But then, at the beginning of this year, I kind of made a decision. I don't know where I got the strength from. Perhaps it was from my dad, who's been dead a long time, who I miss a great deal. So I think about every day. Perhaps I got the strength from him. I thought I've got to start accepting what my body's doing, because it might never change. And I thought, if I think like that, and it does change, wow, woohoo, that's a bonus. Admittedly, the speech therapist told me last year that my TED tube would probably be in forever, and at that time I should have quite happily punched her face in. I was devastated, and so was my husband. But time moves on, and up here I've got stronger. Physically nothing has changed. I've got a very wet mouth, I've got no stamina, I can't eat. But hey ho, I'm here. I've got a fabulous husband, friends and family, and I want to get my personality back. And bit by bit by bit, I'm doing it. Don't feel like it every day. I still get infections. But bit by bit, I'm managing to laugh again. My husband takes a misery out of me. We have a good laugh. I've been to the cinema, I've been to the theatre. See, I originally thought, with all this, people would say I'm disgusting. And I was disgusted with myself, what my body's doing. It's disgusting. But people are not going to notice me, why would they? They're coming and going, living their lives. And I thought, I looked round, people actually asked me if I've been to the dentist. They're hours. But I just said, yes, I've been to the dentist. But I'm doing it bit by bit. When I went to the theatre, I wasn't nervous, but I was still a bit looking round, doing this. But my friend said, I didn't even notice you doing it. She said, I'm being honest. She said, if I did, I would tell you. But she didn't. And because I was so excited, then I can get a bit more stamina then. Or like, a couple of days later, I'm so tired. At the time, I was so excited. But I'm doing it, I've done it. And I've got a bit more to talk about, apart from my illness. Because I know it can get a bit boring. But people do want to know how you are. And sometimes I just say, I'm alright, I'm fine, even when I'm not, even when I've got an infection. It depends who it is. If it's people that I know really well, I can be honest and say, well, I'm not feeling that great. But it's like the next door neighbour, yeah, great, fine, been to cinema. Oh, great, been to theatre, yeah, brilliant. But I wasn't sure how I was going to do about going away with my husband. Because we used to go abroad a lot, which is miss. I thought, how am I going to do that? And he tried to talk about it, but I wouldn't. This is a relatively 10th birthday, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I said, you're thinking too much in the suit, so I can't do that. But I had been away for the weekend with him, but he was working because he's a driver, and he was going up to Edinburgh, and he was staying overnight, and been in the car back, and he said he wants to come with me. Well, I thought, he must be mad. Didn't tell him that. But I was thinking, why would I want to do that? I'd been to Edinburgh before I had cancer. I can't eat. I can't go out and have a meal. That's all part of it. I can't drink a lot. I used to get drunk. Ooh, I do a shoot night out now. But I thought, I can't do that. Because of what we've had before in Edinburgh. Can't do that. Then I thought about it. I thought, what else would I be doing? If I don't go, I sit at home and think, I wish I had. My husband asked me to go, so I went. And I'm glad I did. Yeah, it still bugs me because I can't eat, but I'm trying very hard not to dwell on the negative. Mm-hmm. If I start to think more positive, and I know again they told me to, but I didn't believe it, it does help to make me think differently. And I do think differently, in general. Yeah, I'd like to get back to work one day, but not full time. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not putting all that pressure on myself, because I have done that in the past. Outwardly I'm confident, but not inwardly. I've never really been a strong person, but now it's different. I have to make the most of what I've got, because I don't know how long I've got. But I'm not going to get, oh, I don't know how long I've got. I'm not going to do like that. I'm not. I don't want to. I mean, I've already been told by my older sister, because we're very close. She says, you're back to normal. I said, I've never been normal. She said, you're back to the old Claire. She said, you're fun, you want to go out, you want to do things. I'm flirting again, I stopped doing that. And she said, you're getting back to where you were, bit by bit by bit. You've done it by yourself, because you are the only one that can do it. But there is a lot of help, and I would say accept the help that's there. The support group's fantastic. The speech therapists, the dietitians. If the help is there, take it. The nurse at Royal for the neck massage, they've all been absolutely fantastic. I don't know how they do it, but they do. And they're there. Don't think there's no help. I did at the beginning think there wasn't, because when they go for a check-up, they're there to check if the cancer's there or not. And that's what they do, and they're brilliant. It's all the other stuff is dealt with other people, but you find that out as you go along. You don't know that straight away, but you do find out as you go along. The help is there, the support group. It's only been done for about a year. I wasn't going to go. I've got my husband, I've got my family, why would I want to do that? But my husband encouraged me to go. He said there'll be with people similar to yourself. Oh yeah, I never thought of that, but I went, and the first support group, I met a lovely couple. Alfie had got cancer. He's lost an eye, fabulous bloke. I met his wife, Julie, and I sat next to her, and I thought she was a counsellor. We got chatting, and she said to me, can you do anything? I said, no, I'm too scared, I'm terrified. She said, why? So I've got a lot of saliva, and I'm scared it's all going to get twisted. The speech therapist told me I could do it, but I still wasn't convinced. I was scared. But Julie held my hand. I was very upset, and she said, Claire, you can do it. I've done it for my husband. I'm the chef. And I said, I can't, I'm too scared. She said, go home, get a bit of ice cream, just a little bit by bit, just handle it. And I walked out that support group. I walked in like that, walked out the support group like, come on, this is it now. She's done it for her husband, I can do this. The next day I bought some ice cream and I had a little bit and down it went. Took a bit of doing because my tongue doesn't move, which is another shock. That doesn't move, so it has to get past the saliva and the tongue doesn't move, but I did it. It's that encouragement, I did it. And I'm so proud of myself. Just little things like that, it's such a big mountain to climb, but you do get there. Yes, I'm at a place now where I thought, no way. This time last year, I didn't want to do anything, go anywhere. I felt disgusting with myself. My appearance went a bit off because I like to look nice. But I found the strength from somewhere and I'm taking roots and bounds. I'm going out. I like my clothes. I'm back to doing that. I'm feeling good about myself, getting my personality back because I am a bubbly person. I like the theatre, I like the cinema. But I did think at one point, I thought, well, who's going to go with me because I'm doing this? Which is, I know it's a bit silly, but that's how I felt. But there are friends who want to go out with me still. They're just waiting for me to ask them. And they're saying things to me like, they're doing it really well, we admire you, and all that kind of thing, which is great. But I'm just doing what's best for me, but I never thought I would get to where I am now. And when I do this into the future, what I'm hoping for, it would be nice to think that I could get abroad again, go out for meals again. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm not going to be negative about it now. What's the point? No way. Just being positive, which I was told you've got to do that, Claire, and at times I couldn't, it does make a big difference. If you look here stronger, you can deal with everything else that's going on. Because I couldn't accept it. I felt blue, but not now. It's all part of it. This is new. This is what my body's doing. If it gets better, fantastic. If it doesn't, there's not a lot I can do about it. I have to make the best of what I've got. So I'm 2 years now out of hospital, and that's what I'm trying to do. I've already tried to tell people at the support group, one lady in particular, who won't go out anywhere, said I know exactly she's where they're coming from, but they won't always feel like that. I know now from experience. I said I thought I would, thought I'd never go out again, no way, but they do move on. It takes time, and they say that, it does. I had no idea it would take this long, very, very long recovery, but what can I do? I haven't got a choice. This is me now, and as I say, I'm getting more of my personality. I found it hard because I wasn't working to buy things for myself. Because things were hard financially, but again, bit by bit, my husband said I had a problem with me buying anything new for myself, but I couldn't do that, and I didn't really want to be honest.
Is that because you'd lost interest in things?
I kind of lost interest. I let my hair go grey, which isn't new, because I am a show-off. I like to be the centre of attention, and suddenly that didn't matter. But because I'm getting stronger up here, I want to look nice. I like to dress like this is what they call in the shop. Put the makeup on. Because this is my life now. You know, I could wait for, well, I wait till I go out to get dressed up. But no, I just like, if I'm going to runs late, I get a bit dressed up. Because that's how I am. And that's all part of it. You know, I don't know if other people would feel the same. A lot of it's to do, I think, with the way they feel, the way they look. If it looks lad, they're going to feel lad. Been there, done that. And I do get days like that, obviously, with infections, and I get very tired. But in general, I don't want to be like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not.
Where do you see the future for yourself now?
Well, I don't know if I dare look into the future. I get a bit scared because I don't know what's going to happen. I'd like to think, because of where I am now, things will change. I won't get back to normal where I was before cancer, I know that. But even if it changes just a little bit, then I could maybe move further on. You know, we're sort of going to a restaurant again with my husband. I know it doesn't sound much for a normal person, but to me it would be fantastic. And to go abroad, we're both missing that a lot.
Mm.
And it's hard for my husband because he's working, but he's not going on holiday. So it's very hard for him to accept.
Mm.
But like we keep saying, never say never. Who knows what might happen?
Do you think your outlook has changed since the cancer diagnosis?
Oh yeah. The outwardly I am godly, but not inwardly I'm not confident. I've had things happen in the workplace going back years, but I've never dealt with them. I don't like confrontation. I've shoved things under the carpet, don't deal with it, it'll go away. And that's gone on for years. But not now. I'm not doing that now. Not that I've had anything to deal with, but my husband's already said, you're a much stronger person. I've been a bit of a runt, I admit it, over the years, for a long time. But I'm not doing that anymore. If anything happens that I have to deal with, whatever, I'm not going to be like, ooh, I'll put it under the carpet. Not doing that anymore.
Mm. Do you think you're enjoying life now?
Yeah, I am. Definitely a bit more. And because I'm going out a bit more, I've got things to talk about. Because before, in my mind, I was like so boring. Just got this illness, that's it. And then that would stop me going out to the local pub because I've got nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I can go to my local pub. I went to the cinema to see Mrs. Brown's Glory the other day, and that kick-starts the conversation. I went to the theatre, went to the Monfort Hall. Oh, lots of things to see. Just little things like that. I feel like I'm part of the community again.
Yeah.
I don't feel like an alien. And I can chat a bit more. And in Edinburgh, they're always saying, how are you, how are you doing? But I wanted to be able to talk about something else.
I can see that.
Apart from, I had a hospital appointment the other day, but now, I'm like, oh, I've been to Edinburgh with my husband. Have you? Oh, I love Edinburgh. And then it kick-starts another conversation. And I'm just starting to feel, dare I say, a little bit normal. Yeah? And that's such a good feeling. Such a good feeling.
Yeah.
And for my husband as well. To see me a bit lighter, it's a delight to work and not worry as much about me. Because obviously I've been a bit worried to him and he's a driver, so it's been very hard. But he can see I'm better, more positive, going out, so he feels a lot happier himself. It has a knock-on effect. But you don't think of that at the time, the big effect it has on that person they're living with, but it does.
Well, Claire, I think you've come a really long way in quite a short space of time.
Yeah.
If you think back to how you were after the operation, you probably can't imagine how much you actually end up being able to do.
No.
And you've pushed yourself forward with the help of others around.
Yeah, I've had a lot of help and support. Yeah.
And what you're doing now could be seen as an inspiration to others who are starting from scratch now.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe they can watch this video and see how well you're doing, despite, you know, a major diagnosis, major surgery as well, complications as well, and think, well, maybe I can do a bit more than I'm doing. You know, maybe I can go out too. Maybe I don't need to be as nervous in a way.
Yeah, yeah, people are not watching. Then they think they are, they're not.
No.
No, not at all. They've got better things to do than look at you.
So I want to thank you for coming in today. Thanks for sharing your story with me and the viewers. And I wish you all the best for the future. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, I am, I will.
Keep making these plans, keep doing things. That's brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.